As Meyer just a bit hung up. The new Jags coach said that missing out on Florida receiver Kadarius Toney broke his heart when the pass catcher was selected 20th by the Giants before Jacksonville's pick at 25. Urban also called Toney a, quote, human highlight reel. What a quote. Shannon, what is your reaction to Urban's comments?
Well, if you wanted him that bad, just move up, Skip. You had the firepower to go get it.
You did.
It seems like to me he wanted to take Toney and then maybe with the 33rd pick get Travis Etienne. And so, but if somebody is there, Skip, normally how it works, if somebody is there and you have the draft capital to go do it, you move that guy. Because not only is Toney an outstanding receiver, Skip, he's tremendous in the return game. So he gives you double the value. He can catch it, he can run it, jet sweep, fly sweep. You know, Urban is very creative in his offense, so he can get a lot of uses out of Toney. But if you wanted him that bad, you had the capital to go get it. And that's what you should have done. I don't have a problem with him saying it, because I'm sure there are a lot of guys that teams like, man, like you said, the safety. You know, I was talking to Ozzie Newsome, who ran the Ravens for a long time. The two guys that he wanted, Gronk and Hernandez, Coach Belichick took him up right before he was supposed to. I'm like, well, hell, if you want him that bad, just move up and get him. Those are the breaks, Skip. So I don't have a problem with him saying it. But if you have the assets to go get it and you believe that player in your organization, on your team, give you greater value, you got to go get him.
So what did the Giants do in free agency? They spent a whole lot of money on Kenny Golladay,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Okay, so the intel, the presumption would be, oh, well, they're not sitting on Toney because
they got Golladay, they got Slayton, they got Shepard.
They're just loaded. It's like icing on a cake that's already baked, right?
Yep.
And yet, to Gettleman's credit, he traded back. He went all the way back from 11 to 20, and he sat on a receiver from Florida. I was shocked he took that high. But it counted to me when Urban went public with he's a human highlight reel, and that we wanted him badly because he could do a lot of things in the offense that we run.
A la SEC championship game.
Okay, right? Percy Harvin. Okay,
yes.
Like against Oklahoma in the championship game, Percy Harvin just killed us when Tebow killed us in the fourth quarter. It was a lot about Percy Harvin.
Right.
So he saw Percy Harvin in Kadarius. Okay, so the problem here is I think it's a rookie mistake, and I have the most respect for Urban Meyer. But you don't need to impress your interviewers by trying to explain, well, we were sitting on him, because to do that just diminishes what you get in ETN, because that doesn't do you any good.
Right.
And yet he raved about ETN just the way I raved about him on Friday. I told you I'll take ETN slightly over Najee Harris. I have no problem with Pittsburgh taking Najee because he's much bigger and more powerful, more of a wrecking ball. But ETN is just a flat-out home run hitter. So I loved what Urban was saying about ETN because he's saying he's much more than a running back. Well, I tried to tell you that the other day because he timed 4.4, but with a ball under his arm, he looks like he runs 4.2 to me.
Yeah, he's thick, too. But Toney, Skip, Toney's special because you just want the ball in his hand, Skip. Whether they punt it to him, they kick it to him, you throw it to him, hand it to him, direct snap it to him. He's one of those guys, Skip, you just want the ball in his hands. So, and you know what? They're looking at him. If you remember, Skip, Tyreek Hill didn't play a whole lot of receiver early in his career. He was mainly a returner and a gadget guy until he got his route running skills up to par and he turned himself into an outstanding receiver and he graduated from the return game. I can see Toney being a very similar type player where he spends a lot of his time, Skip, being the gadget guy on offense, but the return game is where he flourishes. And then as he gets more proficient at running routes, he takes off. But like you said, if you wanted him, come on up and get it.
Okay, so back to Kyle Trask to the Bucs. So if Kyle Trask had Kyle Pitts and Kadarius Toney, help me out. Should you not been better than you were?
Yeah, they lost that game to LSU. Now, ain't no harm in losing to Alabama, but there's no way they should have lost to LSU. No, they shouldn't have lost to LSU.
Okay, which brings me back to the NFC East. So now you got Toney, the human highlight reel, on top of Golladay, on top of Slayton, on top of Sterling Shepard, on top of Saquon's coming back.
Evan Ingram.
And Kyle Rudolph this time. Wow.
Yeah.
That's some firepower.
And then you got the Eagles. They got Devontae. They got Jalen Reagor. You know, they got your boy Jalen Hurts. You love Jalen Hurts.
Okay, but the Giants scare me. Washington scares me because I don't have Patrick Surtain and I don't have Trevon Merrick either. I don't have the safety from TCU.
Washington
I got
should scare
burned
you.
twice.
Everybody should scare you.
Yep.
You know, I'm looking at y'all. Y'all looking like a good old third-place team in the division.
Yeah, but you just said my draft is a B+. And you said we got the best defensive player in the draft. So I'm going with the Hall of Famer Shannon Sharp.
He's just one guy, though. But you know Jerry going to mess it up. Now, you know Jerry got to get in there. Jerry going to mess that thing up. Got a good old meal cooking. Jerry going to come in there and add something that shouldn't be there. Mess the whole dish
speaking
up.
of that, we're about to talk about how Jerry is going to mess it up. He's already doing it.
Even you know.
I know.
Already? Missed the final 6 minutes of last night's game due to ankle soreness. And after the game, LeBron said nothing matters unless he is 100% and also criticized the play-in format for the playoffs, saying whoever came up with it should be fired. The Lakers now face 5 straight playoff teams, starting with the Nuggets tonight. Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard is now joining us. Chris, how much trouble are the Lakers in? I'm getting right to it.
Well, look, I'm not writing them off, but you have to be concerned. LeBron looks concerned. So I think every Laker fan should be concerned about where this team is headed. You mentioned that the schedule's about to get really tough. I would be surprised if we see LeBron play tonight on a back-to-back after he kind of re-aggravated his injury. So this could be an L. They could be in the 7th spot by tonight and in the play-in tournament. So there's several reasons I think you need to be concerned. One is LeBron's health, and I agree wholeheartedly with LeBron. It doesn't really matter where they're at, 5th or 6th seed, even the play-in, if he's healthy. That's the number one priority. Get him healthy. And so if it means sitting him out a few games, then by all means do it. But LeBron, I believe, realizes 6 or 7 years ago, this injury he would have been over it, he would have been fine, and he would have been back playing at near the top of his game. Now, at age 36, this thing is lingering because that's what happens when you get older. It's harder to recover and return from injuries. And there's no guarantee that when he comes back, he's going to be able to carry the team. Remember 2 years ago when he came back from the groin injury and he thought he was fine. We know the physical therapist came out later with the revisionist history about how long he should have been out. LeBron himself said, I'm activating playoff mode. And he could only lead them to an 8-13 record. So he has to get close to 100% when he comes back to even lead them. So that's a concern. Secondly, Anthony Davis. Where are you? I mean, he hasn't really played well all year, but he's been even worse since he came back. 16 points, 6.5 rebounds, 39% shooting, 18% from 3 since he's been back from the injury. He's not playing at the top of his game, anywhere near it. They're going to need him to get better. And here's the dirty little secret there. He's having trouble playing with Andre Drummond. When those two on the floor together, the net rating is -6.5. When he's on the floor with Marc Gasol and AD, it's a +8.8. So they're having problems with their chemistry because when AD's or Andre Drummond's out there, AD is pretty much primarily on the perimeter, and he needs a mix of inside and outside to really be at his best. And then I think they're having some issues maybe in the locker room. Seems like players are whispering and saying stuff because Kyle Kuzma came out last night and said, look, we're not together. Not as a team, not as a staff, nothing. And he suggested Marc Gasol get more minutes. So I'm wondering, are players looking at this like, man,